but I buy fun little kits once in a while, like a miniature dollhouse kit, a book nook, those Wobbles crochet kits. Sometimes I even cross-stitch some Pokemon tapestry, coloring books, and even paint by numbers. Not too bad since according to the listing on Baldi's website, it does come with 2 paintings. I actually wasn't sure if this was legit. The photo wasn't even a paint by number, it was the actual photos it was based on. And then the rest of the photos was just the paint by numbers Photoshop onto stock photos. I think most online listings for these things are listed as such, but I just couldn't even find a finished product in the reviews. If you even go on their other variation, there wouldn't even be the finished paint by numbers Photoshop onto the stock photos. It would just be the real life photos. Maybe the intern forgot to switch it out or something. In hindsight, I wish I bought that set for science. But alas, it's a paint by numbers kit, it ain't that serious. If it turns out like crap, oh well, what's there for me to lose? So, this here is the kit I'll be painting on camera today. The listing did not specifically say what these are photos of, but I did visit Banff Lake in Canada earlier this year, and this photo here is unmistakably Moraine Lake from that national park. The subconscious bias is probably what compelled me to buy this particular kit. According to Google reverse image search, the second one is apparently from Lago di Boise, which is an alpine lake in the Dolomites of South Tyrol, Italy. Sorry if I butchered that. Probably a no-brainer, but I feel like these images were definitely yoinked, and then someone used some computer to auto-generate the numbered painting. It's literally ripped off from the first result of Google Images. Anyways, enough rambling from me. We are now going to unbox this thing. So this listing says it will come with a nice colorful box. Wow, it is indeed nice and colorful. You can see the time and effort put into the custom packaging. Okay, so we open it up, slide everything out. Alright, so we do have 2 different paint sets, okay. I'm assuming this number will tell us which corresponding paint kit it belongs to. We roll out this bad boy, and here we have our first paint by numbers. They are essentially adult coloring books, but with paint, so it's supposed to eventually become a painting, but this is what's underneath it all. And here is the reference photos. So we do have the final paint by numbers results. That is a bit more clearer than what the heck was on that listing. So with that out of the way, we are ready to get started. Maybe I need to make a disclaimer that I am in no way, shape, or form sponsored for this video or this product. I don't think something from Amazon will go out of their way to sponsor a small fry like me. So admittedly, I've done a paint by numbers in the past, but never really finished them. I do know 2 things about doing this. That one, it is rather time consuming but relaxing. And 2, I personally get distracted switching between multiple sizes of brushes, so I'm just gonna stick with using a single size brush from my own collection. And because I already have a bias leaning towards the Canada photo, I will be painting this one here on camera today. So yeah, it's just like a coloring book. You just match the paint from the tin to the paint on the canvas. Pretty self-explanatory. I do recommend having a cup of water on hand when the paint is too thick and dry, or for when you need to switch colors. Don't put too much water on your brush though, or else it will just become colored water and not stick to your canvas at all. So dip a very small amount of water and paint on your brush and just paint away. I do approach this by batching colored numbers. So over here, when it calls for the color 20, I'm painting in all of the 20s in the surrounding areas. Some people like going orders in the paint too, but sometimes the colors are just way too spread out. So personally for me, I try to paint from left to right. So whenever there's one number, I just paint the surrounding areas until I'm at a good point. And then I go back to the left and start that all over again. In the beginning, it will look like blobs of color, but the hope is that it will eventually become a full cohesive painting. Like most artists, I also have a full-time day job. Some are very fortunate to have an art or creative adjacent day job, but my employment is completely unrelated. With that said, very rarely my job allows me to act on autopilot, where the days run smoothly from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. But we all know going to work is like putting out multiple fires first thing in the morning and just trying to make sure everything's settled for the next day. Of course, that never really runs as smoothly as we would hope. Anyways, I'm not here to rant about my day job, but to give context that after work, my energy level to create or work on my art fluctuates from day to day, and that it is at the mercy with how much my work day takes out of me. Now, work is obviously a priority for me, so I can't do much about that. So on evenings when I have more energy, I manage to do more intensive drawing or painting sessions and film footage, or work on my Webtoons episodes, and of course edit a video. On days when I have meh energy levels, I'm able to do sketchbook pages, write some YouTube scripts, maybe draw a video thumbnail, or chip away on illustrations. And then days when I'm really not feeling it, maybe I do 1 or 2 pages of sketches before I just watch YouTube or invest myself in some random low energy project. I used to operate on strict personal deadlines for uploading Webtoons episodes or YouTube videos, but I burnt out multiple times in the past and just got close to feeling disdain for art. So to preserve my mental sanity and my relationship with art, I try to allow myself to work at my own pace and then have moving deadlines. And until I can do art or YouTube full time, that will not be changing anytime soon. That's why you'll see me do these fun kits randomly, like the random mini dollhouse video I did earlier this year. Now don't get me wrong, I do also appreciate having a job because for me, it helped me strike that really good balance in my confidence levels. So on bad creativity weeks, I'm able to escape to my job. And likewise, on a bad work week, I'm able to escape on my creative endeavors. Also, existing as an artist on the internet makes me feel terminally online at times, so having a job helps me talk to other people outside of the art sphere and bring me back to reality. So sometimes it really helps to romanticize the mundanes in life. I personally tend to become a working hermit. I do hyper-fixate and throw myself into my work at times, so being able to take a step back and learn how to relax is a very important skill I'm coming to learn. I don't particularly consider myself a workaholic or a type A worker. I just have hyper-fixation problems, so a hermit seems to be the best way to describe myself. But today, I'm not filming cool and exciting adventures away from my desk. At the moment, me doing this paint by numbers, I'm feeling a good 30% energy level. Enough yapping from me. We're making great progress on our paint by numbers here. It's slowly coming together, which is the most satisfying part of doing these paint by numbers kits. So, gonna add a short time lapse here until it's completed. All of those color blobs eventually turned out to be a nice colorful painting. And look, I wasn't scammed, y'all. I was pretty focused and heads down when filling these lines with paint. I think this took me roughly around 15 hours over the span of 2 days. I also did have the second painting here done off camera. You know, sometimes things just gotta be done without setting up a camera, and sometimes a work in progress doesn't always need to be filmed for an audience, just so we're not always performing on camera. I was also actually surprised with how this photo was translated into the paint by numbers format. The fog in the mountains and the clear reflection of the water was when I really felt the painting was coming together. Now the $1 million question. Does doing paint by numbers make you a better painter? No, not at all. It's like a coloring book where the intent is to just sit down and have the time pass by while you work on coloring. Sure, I did not acquire any new painting skills, but it's still a good time well spent since I was able to escape my daily life of work and art for a couple of hours. So thank you, random seller, for not scamming me. And I have 2 really pretty paintings. I don't know if I'm gonna frame or hang these, but I'll definitely keep this somewhere. Sometimes we need to be realistic, not constantly overworking ourselves. And sometimes it's fun to just buy a silly little art kit online and just relax. That's all from me today. As always, thank you so much for watching. Keep drawing, and I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye!